Hello there.
Welcome back to the Geek Blend. I'm Jeff, and today we are going to be going over the Colin Trevorrow Episode 9 script leaks that came out of Robert Meyer Burnett's YouTube channel last week. And I know, it's been a week, and I haven't said anything about this. Was going to make a video on it, did some live streams, and then when I went to make a video, I had some other stuff to deal with, so haven't got to it, but I am now. So let's talk about it. So I knew this was out, but I didn't know the extent of it until I saw Ryan Kennel's video on RK Outpost. Go check out his channel. He does some great stuff, been reporting some great stuff. Go check out his videos too. I'll leave a link for his channel in the description. So I apologize if we're going to get a little bit choppy. My OBS, for some reason, records. It's a really choppy. It's like Android scrolling. It's not smooth. It's just real choppy. So let's take a look here. So his script was entitled Duel of the Fates. And that is the title of the theme that plays during the Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn fight in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. It's Duel of the Fates. It's the John Williams score. It's one of the best scores in all of the saga. And really cool. I'm really intrigued. I read a little bit, and I watched Ryan's video. But I want to get into this a little bit. But we're going to go over some major things. We're going to start with the crawl, and then we'll kind of go into a little bit of things. This is somebody was basically watching his video and writing down everything they heard him say because he wasn't putting out anything. He didn't have a copy of it he was going to release anywhere. So this is what we're going to get. Okay, the crawl. It says the iron grip of the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Only a few scattered planets remain unoccupied. Traitorous acts are punishable by death. Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has silenced all communication between neighboring systems. Led by General Leia Organa, the Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom. I already like that way better than the title crawl we got in The Rise of Skywalker. I hated that title crawl. I thought it was awful. And I have a video me and Nate did on our complete review of Rise of Skywalker. If you guys want to go check that out, we break it down in depth. So I definitely recommend checking that out. It opens on the Kuwait shipyards. It says man on a mission style. BB-8 and Rose Tico, allegedly a key character in the script. Interesting. Are infiltrating the Kuwait moon. Kuwait. I don't know how to pronounce it. Kuwait. I'm going to say Kuwait. Like kumquat. Kuwait moon, where First Order build their ships. Workers are oppressed. There's an orbital ring and moon below it. Finn and Poe are there. No R2, 3PO, Rey arrives. The plan is to send explosives into the power shaft that delivers raw ore into the ring. Plan that goes wrong. Robert Meyer Burnett. Yeah, somebody put the RBM. It's RMB. I think it's Robert Meyer Burnett, not Robert Burnett Meyer. He loves the dialogue at this moment. First Order is able to contain the blast. Admiral Vaughn says Resistance tactics are pitiful. Rey, disguised as a Tusken Raider, is revealed to have created her own weapon, a double-bladed lightsaber hybrid of her staff and Luke's cracked saber. So in this version, we don't get that shitty, patch job on the Skywalker saber. We get she makes a whole new saber with her, basically, from what you heard on old leaks a long time ago, it was basically going to be like her staff, a little bit shrunk down, and each end was going to have a lightsaber on it. She'd have like a staff, like lightsaber hybrid. We'd heard about that before. So this isn't anything new if you've been paying attention to leaks. This wasn't in the leaks that came out on Reddit from Jedi Paxis, but this were leaks from months before that. So, goes on, they battle, and Poe, Finn, Rose, and Rey, and BB-8 steal a Star Destroyer, an Eclipse class, and escape. Want to mention really quickly that usually it takes hundreds of people to operate a Star Destroyer, but whatever. I mean, I'm sure it would look cool. Probably still better than what we got in The Rise of Skywalker from J.J. Abrams, but we'll never know. It says the Knife 9, a ship containing the Knights of Ren, arrives at Kuwait Ataska. Ren kills Admiral Vaughn for his failure. And then we cut to Coruscant. We're going back to Coruscant, which as soon as I saw that, I'm like, why didn't we go there in the first place? I mean, they keep making these new fucking planets in the sequel trilogy, and it really got on my nerves. We have these great planets we're already using. Why go to Pisana? Why go to another desert planet? Why not make it a different kind of planet? Why do we have to have a desert planet? And Kijimi, make it a planet we've already known. Make it a planet that's already been mentioned. Don't just make up a new planet. So we cut to Coruscant, and there's no longer a vibrant city. The new structures are built atop the Art Deco structure of the Old Republic, occupied by the First Order. Now they have a Citadel palace there. Citizens are scavengers now. Hux is now Chancellor Hux, And as addressing Biskova, a traitor who helped resistance steal. Why would you abbreviate resistance? Steal a Star Destroyer. Kova is executed with a light blade guillotine like we saw in The Last Jedi. So Hux and Commander Tom Selleck, I don't know, have a meeting with several alien warlords. Ode to A New Hope Imperial Council scene. First Order has allies. They are aware of Rey being the last Jedi. Council wants to know, where is Kylo Ren? He is missing. Hux only knows he has gone searching for something of great power. Interesting. So, already we're going to Coruscant. Already we're not doing the opening on Rise of Skywalker where we're just going after a MacGuffin. There's not even one mention of a MacGuffin yet. So that's good. Next thing, we cut to Mustafar, which, by the way, Mustafar was the planet that Kylo Ren was attacking in the opening of The Rise of Skywalker. It doesn't say that. In leaked concept art, which I might put on screen here, it shows Kylo Ren talking to what we think is the Oracle from the original Reddit leaks, and you can see Vader's castle actually in the background of that shot, which is really cool. I'm really, really disappointed we didn't get to see more Mustafar. I was hoping we would see Mustafar in episode 8, but Rian Johnson's like, nope, we're not going to do anything. Nobody cares about what you want. Kylo Ren is alone except for a Darth Maul-esque droid. He has stubble, indicating search has been for a long time. Ren is haunted by Luke's Force ghosts. Luke says, this is where the dark path leads, an empty tomb. Kylo's like, where did your path lead? And Luke is trying to convince him to go back to Leia. Kylo says, I'm going to be more powerful than any Jedi, even you. Already, we're getting usefulness from Luke, even more than what we saw in The Last Jedi. After he died from the Force projection, don't get me started on that. Now he's actually trying to he should be haunting Kylo Ren. He should have been in The Rise of Skywalker. Why wouldn't you have him all over him, not leaving him alone? Why wouldn't you have Obi-Wan, Anakin, all of them on top of him? Like, dude, you need to stop. This is not going to go the way you think. Have Anakin be like, look what happened to me. Look what happened. This is not the right path. In Vader's temple, Kylo finds a Sith holocron, which reveals a hologram of Palpatine. So hologram of Palpatine, not actual Palpatine. The recording is for Vader. Palpatine has a contingency for Vader if Luke kills him. Vader is to take Luke to Rimacor, system to see Tor Valum, Master of Sith, Palpatine's teacher. So we're not going to do Darth Plagueis, or it's going to be someone that taught him after Plagueis, or he found, I don't know. But I hope that's the one thing that worries me about this, is they would have maybe retconned Darth Plagueis and be like, this is my apprentice, or this was the one who taught me. But maybe it's like not a master, it's more of a Sith teacher. Let's read on and find out, shall we? I should shut up now. After scanning Kylo, the holocron explodes and releases red lighting, which burns Kylo, who screams. So basically, he's not Vader. Vader did not activate the holocron, so it knows it's not him. It scans him and attacks him and burns him, giving him a reason to wear the mask. Cut to the resistance base on Kor Alaf. Leia is introduced as she feels what's happening to Ben. Chewbacca and Lieutenant Connix tell Leia that the Kuat team is back. They're shocked to see a Star Destroyer, which is landed onto the planet. Funny moment with Rey using mind trick on First Order officers who are still on the ship. So that answers a little bit of a question, that she was using the mind trick on these officers to get them to basically do her bidding and to run the Star Destroyer. Also, already with Leia here, and just glancing over this before and with what RK Outpost was talking about with Ryan, it seems like they just wouldn't have worked with what they had with Leia, so it would have had to been rewritten. I think Robert Meyer Burnett said this is an early draft. I don't know. I'm sure there were rewrites to it, and it's very interesting so far. Rey confides in Finn that she doesn't feel like she has what it takes to be a Jedi and can't live up to everyone's expectations. Finn asks her if she still senses Kylo. Rey confesses she's been having nightmares. Finn asks if it's Kylo. Rey says she can't explain their connection. Finn, you have to shut him out. He can't change. It's too late. Rey, it's never too late to change. You taught me that, Finn. Resistance realizes that the Star Destroyer still has most of its weapons, tanks, TIE fighters, etc. Only missing piece is an army to use it. Rey, researching Jedi texts from Octo, discovers that under Coruscant Jedi Temple, there's a communication system called a Force Beacon from the Old Republic. I love that they're mentioning the Old Republic in here. That can send a signal to 50 planets. They plan on using it to get allies. First Order can't stop it since it predates Imperial tech. Rey, hope is all we have left. Force Ghost Luke appears as Rey trains. Luke is pushing Rey to get stronger in the Force while he is pushing Kylo to let Ben out. Kylo makes it back to Coruscant. Face is damaged. Mandalorian armor is smelted and has been applied to his face. He confronts Hux and belittles him, saying he doesn't need titles. Rey to Luke as they train. Balance? ? The dark suffocates the light. Light extinguishes the dark. Over and over and over again. How is that balance in the Force? Luke says, I know that anger. My father had it too. Rey says, so my master and his master before him, 1,000 masters so eager to tell us how to live. Rest of exchange between Rey and Luke is basically Rey trying to back away from being a Jedi. She admits she is no one, and Luke trying to convince her. He says the Force is speaking to her. Back to Kylo, he and Hux continue to snipe at each other. Basically, it seems like that Hux is going to be back to the character he was in The Force Awakens, which is great. Instead of JJ writing him out and making a new character, that's better. Kylo says he's leaving again, but not before telling Hux the power he discovered will make destroying planets insignificant. Kylo's last order to Hux, find the Resistance, wipe them out, leave the girl to me. So already, I mean, this doesn't sound amazing to me so far, but it sounds better than what we got because I absolutely despise Rise of Skywalker because they tried to do two things. They tried to please the fans and wrap up a story and retcon episode 8. It just did not work with what they had. If I was JJ, I would have begged for 2 parts and split it up. They might have been able to drag it out and make it work. Maybe. Okay, so we have 2 teams now. They're going to split off. Rose, Finn, R2, 3PO. We got R2, not BB-8. Yes. Going to Coruscant to light the beacon. Rey, Poe, Chewbacca. Still no talk of BB-8. We're using the original droids we already had. Didn't need any new ones. They're going to a planet to find someone to help Rey figure out what she needs to do. Yes, his description is that vague. So we have 2 teams splitting up to 2 missions. So Rose, Finn, and the droids are going to Coruscant to light the beacon. So that's a pretty important mission for those 2. And I'm okay with more Rose if she's used and done well. If she's written well and treated well. Has made a much better character than the frumpy character we got in episode 8 that was just like, rich people suck, and this sucks, and slavery sucks, even though it was under the Republic. Remember that. So Kylo is going to a Sith planet called Rimacor. It says, edit. Before he leaves Coruscant, he takes Vader's mask and says he understands Vader now. Kylo says, you allow love to cloud your judgment. And he throws Vader's mask off a balcony and it shatters. So basically, he is calling out Vader's weakness in this scene, and I do like that. Well, what he sees is Vader's weakness. Before Rey leaves, she and Leia have an exchange where Rey says she believes they're still good in Kylo. Leia is skeptical. Rey believes in her Jedi training. Leia, you're not like my father or my brother. You're new. Whatever happens, remember the Force chose you, Rey. Your story isn't written by anyone else. You are your own person, basically what she's saying. And I do like that she's not anybody connected to anyone. She's not a Palpatine. She's not a Kenobi. I was okay with her being nobody. The fact is, I wanted some explanation of why she's so powerful. Like, even if it's a fucking throwaway line by Luke, the reason you're so powerful is because the Chosen One died and the Force needed another powerful entity to rise against to rise the light against the coming darkness or something like that, just to give us a reason why she's so powerful. It's just something to explain. I'm okay with her being no one, but give an explanation of why she's so powerful with her being no one. There had to have been a way to do that without being like, oh, she's a Palpatine. Okay, now it says Robert Meyer Burnett starts summarizing now. The First Order tracks down stolen Star Destroyer to Kor Aloth. Resistance escapes, but it looks like they get their Star Destroyer back. Team A successfully infiltrates the Jedi Temple and turns on the beacon. Cut to different places around the galaxy receiving the signal. Bosk cameo. Interesting. It is then cut off by the First Order. Team A then flee into the underbelly of Coruscant, which I would be cool with seeing that. So basically, it sounds like the beacon of Gondor in Lord of the Rings. They light the beacon, and they light it, and it basically sounds like that. Like I said, this sounds better. It doesn't sound amazing, but I think this is Colin Trevorrow dealing with what he had to deal with after episode 8. Because can you imagine anyone going into episode 9 after what Rian Johnson did to every thread that JJ created in episode 7? I would literally be like, nah, not doing this, can't do it. Nope, find somebody else. Or I'd be like, look, you guys got to start over. Just erase both of those and start the fuck over. Because that's the only way to fix. Because everything that JJ set up in episode 7, whether you like it or not, had a purpose and it was going somewhere. And then Ryan gets a hold of it, just cuts it all off at the knees. And it's like, nope, we're not doing that. And just does whatever the fuck he wants and does this little chase through space that lasts the whole movie. And it just didn't make sense. This sequel trilogy, my biggest problem with it was that you paid $4 billion for a franchise, and you didn't have an arcing story from 7 to 8 to 9, from 7 to 8 to 9. You didn't have an arcing story. You should have had, just major plot points that connected all of them together and let each director kind of fill in everything, but they had to hit those key things, but have them get to those key things in their own way. But that through line is still there, because that has to happen. Because with this baton handoff from JJ to Ryan to back to JJ, it doesn't work, because literally you're going back and retconning what he did, trying to finish this saga and this trilogy. It's just mind-boggling how they screwed this up so bad. It's unfortunate, and they're talking about new Star Wars stuff, like Old Republic stuff or High Republic stuff or whatever, and I want to get excited for new Star Wars movies. I do, but in the hands of these people, I don't trust them, because they don't understand how to make a through connecting story. Like, if you're going to tell, rumors are out there right now that they're doing a Old Republic TV series that will lead into some movies. Have an overall arc for the entire plan. Have mapped out key plot points and let each person come in or whoever's doing the story write it all together. Don't have one guy write this, then one guy to write that, then one guy write that, and then you pass off to him. Have a through line for what you're going to talk about. I mean, have somebody like Kevin Feige connecting all those dots. Little input, but making sure that everything is connected and weaving together. And they have a story group at Lucasfilm, but apparently they just sit on their asses, because they're not doing anything to connect these stories. They're not saying, okay, well, we need this to happen because we've already told this in canon. Like, if you go into episode 9 and they keep talking about Poe's past as a spice runner in Poe's comic. I didn't read all of it. I've read summaries, and it's been a while, but if I remember correctly, he was never a spice runner. He was always in the Republic. His parents fought in the Battle of Endor. He was raised in that environment. He was drafted into the New Republic, went into the army, like the military right away, because he wanted to be an X-Wing pilot like his parents. So he never went off and did anything like that. They never explained that. So they basically crapped all over their own canon, because they don't have people that are keeping this stuff together. They're not paying attention to what's happening. They're not going through the script and be like, wait, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that because of this, this, and this, and this. It's not connecting. So that's my point on what's going on with all of this and what happened with the sequel trilogy. And yes, it sounds great. It would have been amazing to get this over what we got, but it still wouldn't have been great, because Colin had to deal with what he had left from episode 8. And at the end of 8, there's nothing to... You have a ship full of people, and that's it. Nothing. You have Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, who's a whiny bitch, who's not a great villain, and really you can't... The only way to make any sense of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is what Colin's doing here, where it's just making him dark side straight on. No, he's not veering off. He's dark side. He's not struggling between the light and the dark, unlike he was the last 2 movies. So, I mean, it's mind-boggling to me how they handled this, how Disney handled this. It's just, if I was Bob Iger, I would be pissed off. I would have screamed at every single person working on this and be like, why can't you figure this out? We paid $4 billion. This is the lowest grossing movie now. Our merchandise isn't selling. Like original trilogy stuff, people were buying it in droves. Mandalorian stuff, they're buying it in droves because people like the Mandalorian. You know, it's not great, it's not incredible, but it's still really good. And out of what Disney Star Wars has done, it's like on the fucking top level. Like it is in the penthouse. It's so good compared to everything else. Like Rogue One's up there with it because everything else they've done has just been in the pits. Rebels was okay. I'm not an EU guy. I didn't read the Thrawn trilogy. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get more into the EU. I'm actually reading Darth Plagueis at the moment. I'm going to go back and read some other stuff from the EU that's now Legends. And I know that's not really Thrawn. I enjoyed what they did with this character in that. I know it really wasn't him. And it really kind of shit on the old stuff from the EU. And he wasn't even close to what he was in that series. So I understand the people who have that feeling about it, but I did enjoy what they did with him for not knowing his character from those old stories. So I am reading more of that, try to figure that out. But it's just that it was okay. I did like the Maul stuff. I did like the Obi-Wan stuff on Tatooine with Maul. I liked how they finished that. There's some other things I liked, how they brought Ahsoka back into it, how they had Vader in quite a bit of it in Season 2 and some of Season 3. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But other than that, they really haven't done a lot of stuff. And don't even get me started on Resistance. Rise of Resistance, whatever that cartoon is. It's just awful. It is awful. It looked awful, but I was like, I'll give it a chance. And I watched some of it, and it's terrible. It's like they went into a class in middle school. And they're like, hey, we're going to write this fun Star Wars show for kids. You guys write it. And that's what we got. It's like that. Not to say that middle school kids can't write stuff, which they might actually be able to write better than what we get from Lucasfilm. You never know. But I'm rambling. So let's get back into this. Okay, so Team B are pursued by the Knife Nine, the Knights of Ren ship, and eventually reach the planet Bonadon. All these new planets. Why can't maybe they're mentioned in EU or in old lore or some of the new stuff. I don't know. I might be missing that. I'm sorry. Kylo reaches Remenkor and confronts Tor Valum, 7,000 years old, alien of unknown origin, spindly, intense, sinewy muscle, very Lovecraftian. So spindly sounds like slender and like kind of bent and weird. Kylo begins training with Valum. Ode to Empire Strikes Back cave scene. Kylo fights Vader. Fight is brutal and Kylo loses. Man, I would have loved to have seen that. Absolutely would have loved to have seen that one. Back on Bonadon, Poe takes Rey to a seer who can pull information out of memories. The seer pulls a star chart out of Rey's mind from her visions with Kylo. The Knights of Ren show up and fight Rey in a lightsaber battle. She defeats them and Team B escapes. Both Rey and Kylo eventually get to Mortis. Now, here's where this shit gets interesting. Mortis is from an arc in the Clone Wars. If you guys have not watched the Clone Wars, I would recommend subscribing to Disney Plus just for that. If you do, make sure you search on Google Clone Wars chronological order, because some of the episodes are out of order. You'll have to watch it, like pay attention and kind of go what it says, because the way they have it set up to where just play the next episode, it's out of order. But definitely recommend going back and watching the Clone Wars, because the Mortis arc is unbelievable. It's fantastic. Leia asks Lando if he will organize the smugglers and fight the First Order. Rose is captured and tortured by the First Order, but is able to escape. Finn, R2, 3PO start a citizens' uprising on Coruscant around the First Order Citadel Palace. Leia brings her forces to Coruscant to battle the First Order. Massive space battle. Ground battle, Return of the Jedi style. You know the works, LOL. Chewie flies an X-Wing. I'd be cool with that. Chewie's a badass pilot. Rey and Kylo battle on Mortis, using force energy that can pull from each other. At some point, is revealed Kylo killed Rey's parents at the behest of Snoke. Towards the end, Luke, Obi-Wan, Yoda appear as Force Ghosts to save Ben, but are unsuccessful. Ben is extinguished, so Rey kills Ben. It says Robert Meyer Burnett seems to be at the end, so just for housekeeping's sake, Resistance won, First Order loses. One final detail. Han Solo did appear in the script and does confront Kylo at some point. So, wow, that's a lot to take in. Like I said, compared to what we got, this would have been better. Would this have been amazing? Probably not, but maybe. I don't know. It could have been good. Maybe not great, maybe, but I think it could have been at least good. because I think what this sounds like is that he just took Kylo and went dark. You left me with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren at the end of episode 8, Mr. Rian Johnson. We're going to do Supreme Leader, evil as fuck, Kylo Ren, and I would be okay with that, which is what we should have got in episode 8. This sounds very, very interesting. I want to know what you guys think. I have Twitter that I'm pretty active on, Facebook group, semi-active on, group and page. Also, we have a Discord. I'm going to keep that active. The links for all this is in the description. I want to know what you think about this. Does this sound better to you? Does it sound worse to you? Do you even care at this point? After this is already done, it's in the books. We already know what we got. Do you think, whatever, I don't care. I'm not even going to read this. I'm not even going to pay attention to this. Like I said, sounds better than what we got. The Mandalorian armor, melted to Kylo's face was kind of cool because he didn't have his helmet in this, because he would have had to go back in the elevator, pick up all the pieces in a dustpan, and take him, why would he keep the helmet? I would have thought he just had extras. I mean, I'm sure Vader had extra pieces of his body armor and his armor if it got destroyed. So why wouldn't Kylo Ren have that? Maybe he just didn't think ahead. Maybe Snoke's like, you don't need that. You're never going to get your mask broken. Then he tells him to break his mask, which made no sense to me at all. None. But I went through these. I kind of was talking through each point, and I kind of went on a tangent. I don't know. It's very interesting to read. And apparently, let me scroll back up here real quick. So I want to point out, edit number 2, he says here up the top, it says, AV Club has said they independently verified this is legit. So there's another source confirming this is legit. Colin Trevorrow has not come out and said this is all wrong, not even close. And I think with what he did before, when he said something about somebody's potential leaks that were completely incorrect, he would have said the same for these. So anyway, guys, that's my discussion and breakdown of this rumor or script leak of Colin Trevorrow's episode 9, which would have been entitled Duel of the Fates, which I do like that title, Duel of the Fates. I do like it. I sound like I said face. It's weird. But what do you guys think? Did you guys enjoy the video? If you're new to the channel, we'd appreciate a like, a subscribe, and then hit that bell for notifications. If you're a current subscriber, hit the bell, leaving likes on the videos, sharing the videos really, really helps out the channel. Really does. We're at 145 subscribers right now. We are on our way to 200. We have really jumped subscribers in the last few weeks. I mean, I think we've gone up 20, almost 20 in the last 2 to 3 weeks, which has been fantastic. And we really, really, really appreciate it. And you guys have been fantastic. Comments I've had on Twitter, messages on Facebook, messages in real life from people I know, comments on live premiere videos I've done have been just outstanding. You guys have really shown me that you like what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue to do it full force. As for this video, thank you for watching. I'm Jeff. This is The Geek Blend. As always, if you geek about it, we'll speak about it. We'll see you guys next time. Later.